Ottawa imposed an export ban on potatoes from the island to the U.S. That was back in November due to the unsightly but harmless wart.
Just like the seafood industry, PEI potato growers want an end to this too, and they hope that pressure from American farmers will turn the tide on tariffs. In the meantime, they're looking at other global markets and trying to plan around all the uncertainty.
Former potato grower, I know what it means, and hopefully it gives a little hurt to the potato industry and PEI. It's been a big day for us here.
Every single day across the United States, fries show up without effort. They land on trays, spill out of paper bags, and disappear just as quickly. They are part of a daily rhythm that feels untouchable. McDonald's alone serves millions of portions every day, and the expectation is always the same. Same taste, same texture, same availability. It feels normal. It feels guaranteed. And because it feels guaranteed, almost nobody questions it. What most people never see is that this comfort is not powered by one country, one farm, or one company. It is powered by a tightly connected system that stretches across borders and operates quietly in the background. That system has worked so smoothly for decades that it faded into invisibility. But invisible systems are often the most vulnerable, because when pressure arrives, there is no warning sign on the surface. Everything looks normal until it doesn't. For years, the American fast food industry has depended heavily on a northern partner. Not occasionally, not partially, structurally. The overwhelming majority of frozen fries served in the United States begin their journey in Canada. They are grown in Canadian soil, processed in Canadian plants, frozen at massive industrial facilities, and shipped south in volumes so large that they form the backbone of American supply. This wasn't a secret, but it also wasn't something consumers ever needed to think about. The system was integrated, efficient, and reliable. That integration goes deeper than finished fries. The seeds used to grow potatoes across large parts of the United States also come from Canada. Certified seed stock, selected for disease resistance and processing quality, crosses the border every year as part of a shared agricultural ecosystem. Processing plants on both sides of the border were built with this relationship in mind. Farms planted according to long-term contracts. Companies invested hundreds of millions of dollars based on the assumption that the system would remain stable. And for a long time, it was. But stability in modern trade does not depend only on soil and factories. It depends on predictability. When predictability weakens, even the strongest supply chains begin to shift. That shift does not start with empty shelves or missing fries. It starts quietly, inside contracts, forecasts, and boardrooms. As trade policy uncertainty increased, Canadian processors were forced to reassess risk. Not because they lacked demand, and not because production had failed, but because planning became harder. When tariffs are discussed, adjusted, delayed, or threatened without clear timelines, companies cannot plan years ahead the way agriculture requires. Potatoes are not produced on short notice. Fields are planted months in advance. Processing volumes are locked in early. Once uncertainty enters the system, it forces caution. That caution shows up first at the farm level. Reduced contract volumes, fewer acres planted, lower commitments for future seasons. For farmers, this is not theoretical. It directly affects income, staffing, and long-term investment decisions. For processors, it becomes a strategic calculation. If one market begins to feel politically risky, attention naturally shifts toward alternatives. Those alternatives already exist. Canada has spent years quietly building relationships beyond North America. Asian markets, particularly Japan, South Korea, and parts of Southeast Asia, have become increasingly important destinations for frozen potato products. Demand in these regions continues to rise as fast food culture expands and middle-class consumption grows. Unlike volatile trade environments, these markets offer consistency. Contracts are honored. Forecasts hold. Logistics routes are established. When processors compare stability, the math becomes simple. They do not need to abandon the American market entirely for the impact to be felt. Even small reallocations matter. A shift of 5 or 10% away from the United States tightens supply in ways that cannot be quickly replaced. The United States does not have idle capacity waiting to fill that gap. Processing plants operate near full utilization. Building new facilities takes years, not months. Permitting, financing, construction, and labor all move slowly. Importing from farther regions introduces higher transportation costs and logistical complexity. What once moved by truck now must cross oceans. As supply tightens, pressure builds. Costs rise. Chains face choices they are not accustomed to making: absorb higher input costs and accept thinner margins, or pass increases on to consumers. Neither option is painless. And because fries are not optional for fast food brands, there is no easy workaround. The deeper issue runs beyond menu prices. Once supply chains redirect, they form new habits. Relationships deepen elsewhere. Investments follow demand. When trust weakens in one direction, it strengthens in another. Over time, what began as a temporary adjustment becomes structural. Seed potatoes illustrate this risk clearly. American potato farming depends on Canadian seed stock at a scale that is rarely discussed publicly. These seeds are not interchangeable commodities. They are carefully selected, certified, and produced within a system that has taken decades to refine. If Canadian producers begin prioritizing other buyers, rebuilding that pipeline would take years, not seasons. This is how invisible dependencies reveal themselves, not through dramatic shortages, but through gradual tightening, slight delays, small price increases, reduced flexibility. Each change alone feels manageable. Together, they reshape the system. What makes this situation unusual is not the size of the potato industry, but what it represents. It is a case study in modern economic interdependence, a reminder that power does not always sit where consumption happens. Often, it sits where production choices are made quietly and strategically. Canada's fields will continue to produce. Processing plants will keep running. Fries will still be made. The question is not whether supply exists, but where it flows. In global trade, reliability attracts volume. Instability pushes it away. For American consumers, nothing feels different yet. Fries still arrive hot. Drive-thrus still move quickly. The illusion of permanence remains intact. But supply chains do not respond to habits. They respond to incentives. Once those incentives change, the map quietly redraws itself. And by the time the effects become visible to everyone else, the decisions that caused them have already been made.